Ladies and gentlemen, a very good afternoon. Welcome to Fukuoka for the 2025 Gran Turismo World Finals. My name is Tom Brooks. Alongside me, Jimmy Broadbent, Igor Fraga, and Sasha.
Hey everybody! 皆さんこんにちは。グランツーリスモワールドファイナル福岡お越しいただきましてありがとうございます。楽しんでますか？ All right, everybody's excited.
So good to be here. JB, the Pro-Am is a bit of an opportunity for us to see, one, our pro drivers for the first time this weekend, but also to see some what they call amateur drivers, some drivers in the world of the media. What do you reckon is going to happen today?
Well, they say amateur, but a lot of these guys are, die-hard Gran Turismo fans. But there is a range of talent. We've got Super GT, of course, 1 million plus subscribers on YouTube, all the way down to people from media outlets just having a go. So it's nice to see the range, I think.
はい、今回はねこのプロアマレースということでね、プロとアマチュアがねイゴール一緒に戦うということで、まあ本当にこのグランツーリスモもうそれだけでもプレイしてる数も多いわけですけども、みんな集まるということで。
はい、アマチュアの、ドライバーさんたち、いろんなバックグラウンドがありまして、はい、シミュレーターのコンテンツクリエイターだったりとか、カーメディアさんだったりとか、実写のレースに参戦しているバートン・ハナ選手だったりとか、はい、いろんなこうバックグラウンドがあるので、いろいろと見どころが満載なレースだとは思います。
Tom, who's going to win?
Well, that's what we're about to find out, I reckon. Yeah. I think we should probably get ready to meet our 12 drivers because, as we said, the Pro-Am traditionally, it's a bit of an exciting one, Jimmy, and it's also a chance for us to, I think, gauge where the pros are at before we get into the manufacturers and Nations Cup later.
Yeah, it's a bit of sneaky practice for our pro drivers. I'm not sure they're going to complain about that, of course, but yeah, we'll see how they get on.
はい、マニュファクチャラーが始まる前にね、今プロのドライバーたちがどのぐらいのコンディションなのかも知ることができる、そんなチャンスにもなるということですよね。Yeah. Back to you, Tom.
Absolutely right. Let's make our way over to the side of the stage then and introduce our competitors here for the Pro-Am race. Give them a big round of applause. We've got Dave Gaming, the German YouTuber, Traction GG, Tom Harrison Lord there. Super GT is with us as well. Lift and Coast, the YouTuber who's got his own sim racing business. Jordan from GT Planet. We've got Bellini, a Brazilian creator. Iwata Media Bakers is a Japanese media company. We've got Albo, a Canadian creator. Quattro Root, we've got an American-Japanese driver as well as a YouTuber. Lots of creators, lots of exciting people, I think, here, Sasha.
12チームね、プロとそしてアマチュアのねチームで組んでということで戦いになるわけですけど、なかなか豪華ですね。
豪華な、はい、方たちがたくさんいらっしゃってくれまして、レースも多分ロングストレートがあるので見どころは多分たくさんあると思います。
One of the highlight will be the long straight, Tom.
Absolutely, yeah. We're going to be competing at the Tokyo Expressway. It's not going to be a particularly long race, but in terms of the format and how it's going to work here, JB, we've got obviously the pro drivers, the amateur drivers. The amateur drivers must start the race. They must do at least 3 laps in this one.
Yeah, so that basically means the race performance is completely down to the amateur drivers. So no pressure, guys. You'll be completely fine, I'm sure.
はい、まず3周はねアマチュアドライバーが先にしなきゃいけないということで、アマチュアドライバーの責任が重大、プレッシャーはかけたくないけどとジミーは言っていますけれどもね。はい、right, Tom, and then followed by the pro racers, 3 laps, right?
Absolutely, yeah, 3 laps for them to complete it. So obviously, if the drivers who are starting the race don't have a particularly good start to it, they get caught up in contact in the mid-pack. That means it's down to the pro drivers to rescue what went wrong.
That's what they're there for, isn't it? That's why they're pros. Of course, the pros also on the headsets there to give advice to the amateur drivers. These guys are the best drivers in the Gran Turismo world, so best place to have.
Yeah, absolutely. Some great prizes on offer for this event as well. A Fanatec DD Extreme wheel, PlayStation VR2 headset, a goodie bag as well featuring an exclusive t-shirt, which we're dying to get our hands on, by the way, but haven't been able to do so yet, sadly. But yeah, lots of exciting prizes on offer. And now, of course, the faces of concentration as well. There's Jordan from GT Planet. We saw a bit of sneaky practice earlier on. He looked pretty quick, I think, there, Jimmy.
He did, yeah. I think he did.
いや豪華な商品もありますけどね、なかなかこれ手に入れるのもちょっと勝ちたい感じですよね。
そうですね。T シャツも僕まだ手に入れることができなかったので、ちょっと
向こうの2人も言ってましたけどもね。
はい、羨ましいですね。
誰もまだ我々も持っていないという豪華な、貴重なですね T シャツがもらえるということで、みんな日本側もねいろんな方がいらっしゃいますけどどうですか？
そうですね、皆さん多分結構楽しみにしていらっしゃる方がいまして、昨日眠れるかなみたいなことをおっしゃってましたね。
Okay. Some people couldn't sleep yesterday. Igor saying.
I'm not surprised. I wonder if that's down to a combination of jet lag or nerves there. Let's find out. Right, drivers then are on the circuit and ready to go. It's time for the Pro-Am race here at the Gran Turismo World Finals in Fukuoka. Let's see how the grid is going to line up for this one. Big round of applause from the crowd here in Japan. And Toyota fittingly on pole position there as well.
まずはポールポジション。
So pole position, Dave Gaming. German driver lines up at the head of the field. Traction GG, Tom Harrison Lord alongside him on that front row of the grid. Super GT heads the second row of the grid, also in the Toyota Supra. Then it's Lift and Coast in fourth position. GT Planet's Jordan Greer lines up P5 on the grid. He is joined with Iwata in sixth place. Then you've got Bellini, two Brazilian drivers, with Adriano Carazza being his pro car watch, lining up P8 on the grid. Then Albo lining up P9. 10th position is Magni, the Italian. Then Burton in 11th place, and the grid completed by Luca Morelli, his pro driver there, Artem Mosso.
さあという並びになりましたけれどもね、日本勢も頑張ってほしいですね。
頑張ってほしいです。
皆さん応援をよろしくお願いします。いよいよスタートです。The race is about to begin. Tom, it's almost the start. Let's see how the start goes.
Bit of a rolling start then for the drivers. A big chance for them to get some heat into the tyres and the brakes. No need to worry about in terms of strategy, in terms of tyres, in terms of fuel. It's a sprint from lights out to checker flag in.
It is, and also a very, very long run down to T1, so we'll see a lot of slipstreaming down there. Who's going to be bravest on the brakes? Of course, if you get it wrong, you're going to be met by that barrier. So these amateur drivers, they've got a lot to do in this first lap.
今ジミーがね1コーナーまでが長いって話をしましたけど、イゴールどうですかこのコース。
車の車種も、結構綺麗にスープラとフォード GT に分かれていて、スープラは加速が、有利で、フォード GT は最高速が伸びるっていう車になるので、結構1コーナーの飛び込みが楽しみです。
So green light is on then, the race is underway here in Japan. Pro-Am racing is go then as we head down towards the first corner. It's a long run in towards turn one. There's an opportunity for slipstreaming to really take effect for the driver. So Dave Gaming, of course, he's punching the hole in the air in front of everybody else. Traction GG, Super GT, etc. They're all picking up that slipstream behind. And look at that, we're already nearly 4 abreast in the background on the fringes of the top 10 as we come in towards the first corner. Who's going to be last of the late breakers? Well, Traction GG, Tom Harrison Lord is through for the race lead, but there's contact into turn one. Jordan and GT Planet's on the inside, and Lift and Coast is into the barrier as a result.
いやー1コーナー激しかったですね。どうですか？
激しかったですね。やっぱりそのスイップストリームが効いてブレーキングポイントがよくわからないっていうのが、すごい難しいですよね。
So many cars is really difficult with the slipstream. Jimmy, how is it?
Yeah, a lot of drivers getting very familiar with that barrier there for T1 and 2, but it does mean at the moment that Dave Gaming still leads from Traction.gg. We're on board right now with Super GT. It's very difficult through here, a lot quicker for that last series, and a penalty there for Dave Gaming.
Yeah, both those drivers were wide for that corner. That's allowed an opportunity here for Super GT. He pulls alongside Tom Harrison Lord. He's got the outside line then, but the line is then subsequently blocked off. Lift and Coast is fancying a slice of the action as they try to move their way through on the inside. So from attacking to defending to losing places there for Super GT. And Jordan Greer from GT Planet behind, ready to try and pick up the pieces there in 5th place as well.
さあ日本勢見ていくと今岩田選手が8位ですかね。カーウォッチ9位、岩田選手7位に上がりましたね。あとは日本で活躍している、ハナバートン選手も10位とちょっと後方にいるんで上がってきてほしいですね。
ただこれから多分いろんな展開があると思うので、1位の選手もそのペナルティを受けてますし、やっぱりミスをしないで、ちゃんと最後まで走り切るっていうのが結構大事だと思います。
We're out of the hairpin, Tom.
Yeah, what a move there from Super GT. Did you see that sending it through on the inside? Looked like he might have been able to make some ground initially, but then subsequently lost out in the second phase of the corner. I wonder if that might leave him a bit vulnerable on the exit and the drive and the speed that he subsequently has then as we come down the long start-finish straight. So we end the first lap with Dave Gaming in the lead, but Traction GG, Lift and Coast, Super GT and GT Planet all very much in the wheel tracks, and we're going to have a change of lead before we've even reached the start-finish line. Look at that, 2, 3, 4 places lost there for Dave Gaming.
なんとこのストレートだけで4つも順位が入れ替わっちゃいましたね。
ペナルティの消化がストレートの明けにあったので、それが結構大きかったと思います。
でも5位でまでとどまったとも言ってもいいですよね。さあそしてまた1コーナーですかね。We're heading to turn 1. Lap 2.
You see that Dave Gaming there absolutely shuffled out of the pack down to P5. They're all coming together though to come through T1 into T2. Contact between GT Player and Traction. They've somehow managed to stay out of the wall with Super GT now coming out in the lead. So Steve there managing to find his way through the chaos.
Yeah, Bellini was the driver we saw facing the wrong way a couple of corners ago at the first turn. So not good at all for the two Brazilian drivers there. Bellini and Luca Morelli right at the back of the field. On board we ride here with Dave Gaming. Then they're on the slipstream. This is where we saw penalties being being picked up, and we see Lifton Coast going into the barrier as a result of some contact on the entry of the corner. Dave Gaming getting a bit aggressive there.
あったので、ペナルティどうなるか、判定がどうなるかというところです。
いやしかしこうすり抜けていくような感じで順位が入れ替わってますけれどもね。There is no forgiving in this corner.
No doubt about it. And look at this, Super GT now in the lead of the race. 0.6 of a second to the good of GT Planet. So it was all frantic at the start of this lap. GT Planet and Jordan Greer having a big slide though. That's going to cost him time. Might leave him vulnerable to Dave Gaming. But I was just about to say it settled down at the sharp end of that race, Jimmy. And then just as I say it, it kicks off again.
Bear in mind, of course, there is the boost setting is on here. So Steve was going to have a very hard time getting away at the front here despite having a 2-second gap. Dave Gaming now in the wheel tracks of Jordan from GT Planet. He gets a rest a little bit here. It's just a long straight, but not quite as easy as it seems. We're going to have to look in the mirror to defend. And of course, then try and get into the slipstream of the car in front and get a bit of an overboost.
岩田選手は何かあったんでしょうかね。11番手まで下がっちゃいましたね。
そうですね。何かミスがあったのでしょうか。
先頭はスーパー GT なんと2秒の大きなリード。そして2番手3番手。And it's a tight battle between Dave Gaming and GT Planet. Tom.
Yeah, Dave Gaming going through, taking the advantage of the slipstream down the start finish straight, and the lead of the race subsequently as well. So we're on the start of lap 3 as Jordan and GT Planet look to try and retaliate as we come in towards the first corner. Let's see how this one shapes out as we come over the rise of the hill in towards turn 1. Dave Gaming with the inside line. Traction GG and Lifton Coast, they're side by side in the background as well. So it's all as you were as they come through that first turn. But we're on lap 3. This is the last lap for the amateur drivers now, because it will be time for the pros to get into the hot seats after this one. At the sharp end of this race, of course, Super GT, he's got a 2-second advantage, but it's not insurmountable here.
No, it's not, especially with these pro drivers getting, of course, and the guys getting into the car, they've done thousands of laps around here. They know the circuit at the back of their hand, so it's going to be very tight once this driver swap happens. But right now, if you're the amateur driver, it's one last push to try and pull a little bit of a gap.
もうすぐでプロドライバーが出てくるわけですけれども、イゴールこの2秒差どうですか。プロドライバーから見ると自分も走ることを考えたら。
いや結構難しいですね。やっぱりそのタイム差ってみんなすごいほぼない状態で走るので、2秒差まで開いちゃうと、結構難しいです。でこの状態で2位と3位が一緒に争ってしまってたので、その、ロスタイムも結構大きいかなと思います。
Alright, the drivers are heading to the hairpin for the pit stop. Tom?
Yeah, about to come into the pit lane then at the end of this lap here, Sasha. And this is going to be the first opportunity to see how the race is going to shape out in terms of the pro drivers. So Super GT will hand over to Donovan Parker. Dave Gaming, he'll have Takuma Miyazono behind the wheel of that car once they come into the pit lane. So down this long start finish straight, they'll jink to the left in a few moments' time into the box. No tyres, no need to worry about fuel, just a case of sticking a new driver behind the seat of that car and seeing how it all shapes out between our pros. So into the box comes Super GT. About 2.5 seconds or so later, Dave Gaming and the rest of the field all coming through. The top 5 still only separated by about 3.5-4 seconds or so in total.
さあドライバーもね今入れ替わってますけど、イゴールこれ慌ただしいですね。
いや意外とピットのストップ時間がすごいゲーム内で短かったので、みんなバタバタして早く変わらないと結構厳しいですね。あと、キリアン選手がここでピットのホワイトラインカットで3秒ペナルティもらっちゃいました。
うわー There's a white line cut penalty, 3 seconds.
Yeah, that's pretty obvious there for Lifton Coast. So who's in that car now? So it's Killian Drumont, the pro driver. So he's obviously exceeded the white line on the exit of the pit lane there. 3-second penalty. That's going to take them out of the running for a potential challenge for the podium here. Jimmy, let's catch up with Steve Brown, Super GT.
Yeah, Steve, good little initial stint there. You're leading right now. Tell us how it was.
It's an interesting track because of the slipstream. You've got to really try and escape. So we've got a nice 1.5 second gap. It's just got to try and just stay at the slipstream, basically.
How are you finding this Group 3 car through this midsection here? Very challenging.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you've got the walls everywhere, so you've got to be... I played it pretty safe, I think, on my stint, and fortunately for me, everyone else was fighting, so I managed to get away.
Best of luck, mate. Hope Donovan can bring it home for you. There's Super GT. I don't think he's won one of these for quite some time, so he's quite keen to get one done here.
Alright, Tom, I want to now interview Mr. Iwata. 岩田さん、ちょっとお話聞かせていただいてもいいですか。どうでしたか。
いやー結構緊張したのと、ダンロップさんのタイヤ履いてるんでスムーズにいけるかなと思うんですけど、ちょっと緊張でスピンしちゃってなかなか緊張して、でもグランツーリスモも長年やってきたのはちょっと出せたかなと思いました。
He was really nervous with the Dunlop tires. He was confident, but he was more nervous than confident, and he made a spin. but because he played so much Gran Turismo, it helped him drive fast, Tom.
Amazing. Good to hear from Iwasa. Thank you, Sasha, there as well. So at the sharp end of this race then, with 2 to go, it's Super GT that leads. 1.1 seconds, though, is the advantage. If you remember, just a lap ago, it was about 2.5 seconds. Of course, that gap has come down as a result of the pit stop. But you've got Takuma Miyazono now behind the wheel of the car that was piloted by Dave Gaming. Super GT has got Donovan Parker at the helm. Boost is on in this one, and they're coming into the slipstream range. It's such a long straight here, Jimmy, that you can imagine we're going to see Takuma Miyazono challenging that lead of Donovan Parker before too long.
Yeah, being in the lead here is almost the worst thing because you're just punching that hole in the back, and he'll be looking in his mirrors for sure for the next couple of laps.
今英語の方で話になってましたけど、イゴールだいぶ差が縮まってきましたね。
いやびっくりしてます。ただ宮園選手が2位で走行してるんですよ、はい、で宮園選手ってやっぱりすごい速いですしアグレッシブなドライバーでもあるので、はい、多分結構追い上げてくるとは思いますね。
1秒以内になってくるともうスリップももろ効いてくるわけですよね。
いやもうもろ効いてくるので多分次の週ぐらいまでには何か仕掛けてくるんじゃないかなと思います。
Tom, the gap is becoming smaller and smaller.
Yeah, it certainly is. It's going to get interesting here, this, and now down to about half a second between Super GT and Takuma Miyazono. So Donovan Parker, as we said, behind the wheel of Super GT's car, but Miyazono certainly looking to have the pace in this second half of the race. You can sense it's a case of when and not if he's got a chance for attack through the left-hander and the right-hander. No way through for him, but you can see them feathering the throttle to Takuma Miyazono there. Such as he is from momentum that he's got that he's just not able to use at this section of the circuit.
No, you have to really try and set up the move going down the main straight. Here is almost inconsequential. It's just making sure you're close enough for a move into T1.
さあこの後いよいよ最終ラップに入るわけですが、その前のヘアピンここで詰めるチャンスですかね。
そうですね、多分もう結構ペース的には宮園選手の方が速そうなので、彼はそのタイミングを見計らってアクセルを抜いたりして多分位置関係を調整してたように僕は見ました。
そのちゃんと抜く場所を探してるってことですね。
そうですね、そのメインストレートのところでいいタイミングで抜いて抜き返されないようなところでちゃんと抜いてもうブレーキングして1コーナーに入りたいということだと思います。
Tom, you're back to the straight for the final lap.
Yeah, one more lap to go then here. Super GT and Dave Gaming's machines blast onto the start-finish straight traction as well, not too far adrift. One more lap to go and a chance of victory possibly slipping through the fingers of Donovan Parker, who is of course not with the advantage of the slipstream here. Takuma Miyazono is bearing down on him as we come across the timing line. We're going to burst out of the tunnel into the darkness, and will we see a change of lead? Super GT and Donovan Parker I don't think is going to defend this one too much. Miyazono jinks to the inside, then they pull alongside one another as they go up the start-finish straight and head towards the first corner. Takuma Miyazono and Dave Gaming's machine now lead the way at the start of this final lap.
宮園選手前に出ましたけれども、どうですか、これ守れますかね。
いや多分守れるんじゃないかなと思います。ペースも速いですし、あとやっぱりオーバーテイクの仕方もう本当にストレートの最後ぐらいまで待って抜き返されないちょうど絶妙な位置関係で抜いたのがさすがでしたね。
Jimmy, how was the overtake?
Yeah, it was a nice move there, very well executed. But of course, now look in the background, we've got 3 at this party. Traction.gg closing in on Super GT with only half a lap to go here in the Pro-Am race. Anything can happen.
Yeah, of course, prizes on offer for the top 3 finishers in this one. Just to remind you, not for our pro competitors, for the amateur drivers, so to speak, as we come through this midsection. We know it's very much one at a time through here, and you can see how smooth the drivers are having to be in terms of their steering inputs there. And I think we saw Donovan Parker just clipping the wall on the outside, which would have cost them a bit of time and momentum, might leave them vulnerable to Traction GG. Behind the wheel of that car, Mikołaj Sejak, and he's pretty quick in these machines.
さあ2位と3位の差もちょっと縮まってきましたけども、もうあとコーナーは1つですね。
そうですね、最終コーナーの立ち上がり次第、ただ2位の選手もまだ1位の、選手のスリップ圏内にはいるので、チェッカーフィニッシュラインまで伸びるかどうかですね。ちょっと2位にすりましたよ。
Oh, Super GT is wide, Donovan Parker's wide. That's allowed an opportunity here for Traction GG and for Mikołaj Sejak. Then we come down the start-finish straight for the final time. It might allow Takuma Miyazono to rob to victory here because they're battling and squabbling for second place as they come to the timing line. Who will take victory? It'll be Dave Gaming and Takuma Miyazono who's behind the wheel. They win the Pro-Am race here in Fukuoka, but second place is a drag to the line and Traction GG.
Wow.
Mikołaj Sejak takes it by just 2/100ths of a second over third place. Super GT and Donovan Parker in P3 as lots of battles continuing right down to the checkered flag here in Fukuoka.
What a finish.
Amazing. That was absolutely brilliant there. And I tell you what, great job from Takuma Miyazono, Jimmy, as if we ever doubted him.
Yeah, I think as soon as Miyazono got in the car there, I saw a bit of a shudder from Steve from the side there. But yeah, Dave Gaming there and Takuma Miyazono victorious and right on the line there. Sejak for Traction.GT, just pip in Donovan Parker for Super GT. They will be on our podium, they will be our prize winners today.
Yeah, certainly will. Very, very exciting indeed. So Dave Gaming and Takuma Miyazono are the drivers who take victory. Sasha, let's get you in there. Let's go and chat to Takuma Miyazono, the winner of that one. Of course, victory on home soil here in Fukuoka.
おめでとうございます、宮園選手。
ありがとうございます。
Congratulations. How do you feel now? どんな気持ちですか？
結構このコース自信があったので、いけるんじゃないかなと思ってました。
I was confident with this course, so I knew that I can go. でも2秒半でしたね。It was 2.5 seconds before you started. 2秒半から縮める。どうやったんですか、改めて。
いや結構コーナーに自信があったんで、少しずつ進めていって、で最後の直線で追い抜けたので、非常にいい流れでいけたのかなと思います。
I knew that I could use the corners to, close the gap and then use a straight to overtake. So it went as I planned. Congratulations.
Thank you.
How do you feel?
Very excited. I didn't get into a rhythm, so I felt bad for Takuma, but he managed to do it so well.
リズムに乗れなかったんですけども、宮園選手がねうまくやってくれたんで勝ったということですね。Back to you, Tom.
Thank you very much indeed, Sasha. Yeah, great job from Takuma Miyazono, from Dave Gaming there as well. They are the winners of the Pro-Am race here in Japan. The World Finals, of course, for the GT World Series. Action, of course, to come for the Manufacturers' Cup and indeed the Nations' Cup as well. Let's have a look at some highlights, though, from that race. Well, it started off with Dave Gaming in the lead of that one, but you got the sense, Jimmy, that they were going to be vulnerable towards turn one as they all played skittles behind.
Yeah, very difficult putting that many cars down into T1 there. They all managed to come out just about, but it's very close at the start here with the slipstream down towards T1 with Traction, Super GT and Lift and Coast being the early front runners, but that wouldn't last long for Lift and Coast, unfortunately.
Yeah, no, certainly wouldn't do. You can see the battles that reigned on here. This, of course, is where the amateur drivers were in the cars in the first phase of the race. This was Dave Gaming taking second position away from Jordan and GT Planet, who was right up in the mix at the beginning of that race. Then we saw, again, another incident down in towards turn one. Burton involved in some drama as well as Iwata. And this is Dave Gaming taking the lead of the race away from Super GT. Behind the wheel, of course, of that car at that time was Takuma Miyazono, and he came through like a storm, the Japanese driver, to take victory. But then there was even further drama. Super GT in second place. Donovan Parker behind the wheel went wide at the final turn. Traction GG and Mikoai Sejak came through to take second position by just 2/100ths of a second.
Wonderful race. 素晴らしい。
Amazing job from our drivers then. And a great start to proceedings here in Fukuoka for the Gran Turismo World Finals. Time then for the podium celebrations to begin here in Japan. Let's welcome our podium finishers onto the stage. In third place, give it up for Super GT and Donovan Parker.
3位はスーパー GT。大きな拍手でお迎えください。
Great job for them, P3. Be a bit disappointed with that though after where they started the race. Traction GG in second place, Tom Harrison, Lord in P2 and Mikoai Sejak.
2位はトラクソン GG。
And then the winners of the Pro-Am race here in Fukuoka for the 2025 Gran Turismo World Finals. Give it up for Dave Gaming and Takuma Miyazono.
そして優勝チームの登場です。おめでとうございます。宮園選手見事逆転。
Our prize is awarded, of course, to our top three finishers here this weekend in Fukuoka. Congratulations all round. Of course, third place, the kit bag being presented to the third place finisher.
さあ、そしてプレゼンターはイゴール・フラガ選手ですね。はい、3位からプレゼントいたします。
Yeah, Igor Fraga presenting the third place award to Super GT, to Donovan Parker. P3 for them. Some goodies to take home.
おめでとうございます。3位です。
Igor Fraga then presenting the second place award to Mikoai Sejak, to Tom Harrison, Lord. Second place for Traction GG here in the Pro-Am race.
そして2位のトラクション GG です。
And now the winners presented with the Fanatec DD Extreme wheel here in Japan. Takuma Miyazono and Dave Gaming victorious. Absolutely sensational.
そして優勝チームにも賞品が与えられまして、見事このトップ3チームがお祝いされました。おめでとうございます。
Well, it's been an absolute thriller. The drivers will be celebrating, and we've got, of course, action to come from the Manufacturers' Cup here later on this afternoon. Jimmy, what was your highlights of that Pro-Am race?
It was quite enjoyable, that one. I mean, like, we tend to see a bit more chaos into the first couple of corners. They behaved really well. So I think just the driving standards in general being a bit, but it was a bit more of a treat to watch this time, wasn't it?
It certainly was. Igor, some great racing in that one there as well.
Yeah, for sure. I think at the beginning of the race, I think we saw the amateur drivers, pulling away from it, and then Miyazono-san coming back from that afterwards. So yeah, there was a lot of race action all around the pack. So it was a great race to watch.
Yeah, it sets us up for an absolute treat here later on today. Action to come from the Manufacturers' Cup as well. Anyway, let's leave that there then, shall we? Thank you for joining us for the Pro-Am race here in Fukuoka. From myself, Tom Brooks, from Jimmy Broadbent, from Igor Fraga, and from Sasha. Thank you, and we'll see you again very soon.
ありがとうございました。また会いましょう。
プレイステーション